Hello, everyone, and welcome back. This is Doc at Padama. This time, we will be discussing 38 final research defense questions and their purpose. So, for this particular discussion, I will be giving you a list of final research defense questions and the purpose behind these questions. So, we will be using Tagalog and English during this particular video. So, question number one: what motivated you to choose this research topic? What motivated you to choose this research topic? When we talk about motivation, this usually refers to the reason why you conducted the study. So basically, the main idea that you need to identify for this question, ang kailangan nyong maibigay na sagot, should revolve around the reason why you conducted the study. At papaano nyo makukuha yung reason? Number one, so you need to explain what is the personal relevance of your research. Ano ang kinalaman ng inyong research sa inyo personally? Apektado ba kayo? Saang paraan, saang aspeto ng inyong buhay bilang estudyante o bilang profesional? So yun yung sinasabi natin, kapag nagpapaliwanag kayo ng motivation that revolves around the reason, kailangan unang-una may paliwanag ninyo ano ang kinalaman nitong study ninyo, nitong research sa inyo personally. Papasok na din dyan yung academic. Sabi ko nga kanina, kayo ba ay estudyante? Kung kayo ay estudyante, paano nakakaapekto sa inyo ito academically? Alin? Yung research na ginagawa ninyo, yung issue na iniimbestigahan ninyo. So, ito ang mga kailangan yung ipaliwanag. So, saan nyo kukunin ito? Pwede nyo itong kunin doon sa rationale of the study. Ang rationale of the study dapat nakasulat at the last paragraph of the introduction and background of the study. So, dito, kung ito ay nakasulat sa huling bahagi ng inyong introduction and background of the study, madali nyo ito makita at madali nyo mabalikan at pwede ninyong kunin doon directly kung ano yung sagot para dito sa unang tanong. So maliban sa personal, academic relevance sa society, ano ba ang nagtulak sa inyo? Kasi pinag-usapan natin motivation. Yung may kinalaman sa pagtulong sa society. Ano ba ang meron ang ating lipunan na nag-udyok sa inyo na gawin itong research topic? Okay? So maraming mga motivation kayong makukuha doon. So basically, sa pagbibigay ng dahilan, itong purpose na dinidiscuss natin, magkakaroon kayo ngayon ng idea kung saan nyo kukunin, huhugutin o yung pagbabasihan ng inyong sagot para dito sa unang tanong na what motivated you to choose this research topic. Ngayon, para sa ikalawang tanong, question number 2, what is the main problem of your study or issue your study seeks to address? Ulitin natin, what is the main problem or issue your study or your research seeks to address? Pag sinabing problem of your study, ang unang-una ninyong kailangang balikan ay yung tinatawag nating statement of the problem o yung SOP. Yung SOP o yung tinatawag nating statement of the problem. Kasi ang SOP ninyo ay may dalawang bahagi, yung tinatawag nating general problem at yung specific problem. So kapag ang tanong, what is the main problem that your study seeks to address? Gusto lang malaman ng inyong panel ano ang problema at familiar ba kayo sa problema na ito. So kailangan nyo lang state the main problem of your study. So puntahan natin itong purpose. Ano ba sinasabi? Ang reason kung bakit ito itinatanong is to clearly state, for you to clearly state bilang isang estudyante na nagde-defend ng kanilang research, kailangan maliwanag nyong ibigay yung sagot na may kinalaman dito sa tinatanong na main problem. So, to clearly state the central concern, which is the issue being investigated, yung research gap that aims to be investigated, and why is it important to address it. Ulitin natin, itong tinatawag nating main problem ay pwede nyo nang kunin doon sa SOP under the general problem. So, ang halimbawa natin, the objective of this study is to identify the effect of artificial intelligence writing tools to the writing competency of students. You have already clearly stated the central concern of your study. Paano nyo naman ipapaliwanag itong gap ng inyong research kung yun ang ibinigay kong halimbawa, ang paggamit ng AI tools at ang epekto nito sa writing competency ng mga estudyante? Ang research gap dito, explain nyo lang, gusto po naming malaman kung nakakatulong ba o hindi nakakatulong ang paggamit ng AI tools sa writing competency ng mga estudyante. Kasi wala pa pong study na gumagawa nito. Lalong-lalo na po sa aming eskwelahan. Doon sa binanggit natin na address nyo na yung sinasabing research gap. Okay, we are now on question number 3. How does your research contribute to existing knowledge or practice? So for this particular question, gusto lang malaman ng inyong panel yung tinatawag na value ng inyong study. Meron bang halaga yung research na ginagawa ninyo? Because whether we accept it or not, there are a lot of studies, research that has been accomplished that is not significant or relevant anymore. So, the panel for this particular question, gusto lang nilang malaman ano ang magiging contribution ng inyong study sa kung ano yung meron na ngayon. So, ano yung bago? What is new in the study that you have conducted? Is there something new? So, let's go to the purpose. Kagaya ng sinabi ko, the purpose of this question is to highlight the value of your study. In terms of ano yung bagong insights, ano yung mga bagong mga kaalaman na pwedeng makuha sa study ninyo. Ano yung mga makabagong sagot? Ano yung makabagong paraan? Ano yung mga makabagong pananaw na pwedeng ibigay ng inyong study? So ulitin natin, doon sa mga binanggit natin, yung insights, solutions, perspectives, dito kayo dapat mag-focus. You need to reflect on what particular value can your research contribute pagdating sa mga bagay na binanggit natin. So, meron at meron yang bago na pwede ninyong idagdag na hindi pa nagagawa at hindi pa na ibibigay ng ibang study na nauna sa inyo. So, kailangan nyo lang talagang mag-research, maghanap, literal na mag-search ng mga study na kapareho o kahalintulad ng study na ginagawa ninyo at tignan ninyo kung nagawa na ba nila yung ginagawa ng inyong research. Question number 4. Why is your study relevant in the current, present context in terms of social, technological, educational, and so on and so forth? Why is your study relevant in the current context? In the following context: social, technological, and educational. So you need to focus the relevance of your study to the following area. Ano ang kinalaman o ano ang pwedeng maidulot na kabutihan o dagdag kaalaman ng inyong research sa ating lipunan, sa teknolohiya, at sa edukasyon. Punta tayo sa purpose. The purpose of this question is to establish the connection of your study to present-day issues. So kung hindi nyo man masasagot yung tatlo, at least mag-establish kayo ng 2 o kahit na pinaka-least ay 1. Ano ang relevance ng inyong study sa edukasyon? So ulitin natin, ang purpose ng question na ito is to establish the connection of your study to present-day issues or trends that justify the need to conduct the study. Kaya ito itinatanong, meron ba talagang pangangailangang para gawin ang inyong research? Palagi ko din yang itinatanong sa mga nagde-defend. What is the justification, the argument, the reason that there is a need to conduct the study? Talaga bang merong pangangailangang gawin yan? Baka kahit naman wala pang study na ginagawa na may kinalaman dyan sa iniimbestigahan nyo, hindi naman siya ganun kahalaga. So, kailangan maipresent ninyo yung argumento, yung dahilan at i-argue ninyo, panindigan ninyo, depensahan ninyo, ipaliwanag ninyo kung bakit kailangan po na i-conduct itong study dahil ang mga estudyante po natin ng mga manunulat, kagaya ng binigay kong halimbawa kanina, yung use of AI tools and its relationship to the writing competency of students, kailangan pong malaman namin kung meron talagang tulong na naibibigay itong AI tools sa ating mga estudyante na nasa ilalim ng subject na may kinalaman sa pagsusulat. Nakakatulong ba itong AI tools na ito? Question number 5. So let's just adjust our screen. How did you establish the scope and limitation of your study in the introduction? Dito papasok yung tinatawag nating the art of listening. So kung ito ay ibinigay sa inyo, pinakinggan ninyo, how did you establish the scope and limitation of your study? Hindi pa natatapos doon in the introduction. So dito tinatanong sa part ng introduction ng inyong manuscript, papaano nyo ikwinwento, papaano nyo i-present yung scope and limitation of your study. Narratively, papaano nyo isinulat sa introduction yung scope and limitation of your study. Remember, balikan lang natin sandali. Pag sinabi nating scope, this refers to the inclusions of your study, and on the other hand, kapag limitations naman, ito naman yung mga exclusions. Ano yung mga kasama at hindi kasama sa inyong study? Let's go to the purpose. To show that the researcher has set realistic boundaries for the study and understands the extent to which the findings can be applied. So gusto lang makita ng panel ninyo kung yung mga boundaries ninyo sa limitation are realistic. Ganon din sa scope, yung bang coverage ng inclusions ninyo realistic. Matatapos nyo ba on time? Nakuha nyo ba lahat on time? Okay? So, ito yung dahilan kung bakit ito itinatanong. So, unang kailangan nyong establish is that you should include the discussion ng scope and limitation sa introduction ninyo. Kasi meron tayong hiwalay na bahagi sa inyong manuscript na ang tawag ay scope and limitation of the study. Pero dito sa tanong, in the introduction, papaano nyo ipinaliwanag, present yung scope and limitation of the study? Ano-ano yung mga kasama at hindi kasama. So ulitin natin, ito yung purpose kung bakit itinatanong itong panglimang question natin na how did you establish the scope and limitations of your study in the introduction. Moving on to question number 6. What theoretical framework did you use in your study and why was it appropriate for your study? Ulitin natin, anong theoretical framework ang ginamit ninyo sa inyong research at bakit ito ang dapat gamitin. Yung appropriateness, so hindi lang siya huminto na Ano ang framework na ginamit ninyo? Meron siyang follow-up question. Why was it appropriate for your study? Tignan muna natin yung purpose. Bakit kayo tinatanong nito? For you to explain the theory or model, i-present nyo yung pangalan, yung author, yung idea, tapos yung relevance nung study, nung framework sa study ninyo. Justify its relevance. Ito yung sinasabi natin. Ano yung relevance? Yun yung last part na sinabi ko. After presenting the concept, the idea of the framework, ano yung relevance ng framework doon sa research na ginagawa ninyo. Maliban doon, kailangan nyo ding maipakita, maipaliwanag kung paano nito natulungang igabayan. Ang framework ay isang gabay sa pagkoconduct ng inyong study. Base sa framework na ito po ang naging basihan ng aming research, ng proseso ng aming research, ng domain ng aming research. Okay? So, show how it helps shape the research design, and hindi lang yun, pati yung interpretation ng results can be based on the framework. Okay? The theoretical framework can also be the basis of yung tinatawag nating interpretation of results. So, paano nyo sasagutin yan? Hindi nyo lang ipipresent yung pangalan ng theory, yung author ng theory, yung idea ng theory, yung relevance ng theory sa inyong study. Kung hindi, idadagdag ninyo papaano ito nakakatulong sa pag-interpret ng result. Okay? Paano ito nakatulong sa paggabay ng paggawa ng inyong research? Kailangan na-establish nyo yung relevance ng theoretical framework sa study na ginagawa ninyo. Hindi pwedeng walang kinalaman, walang relasyon itong theoretical framework sa study na ginagawa ninyo. Yun lang ang gustong malaman nitong tanong na what theoretical framework did you use and why was it appropriate for your study. We are now going to move to the next area, but before that, let me just remind you the first area is the introduction and background of the study. So the next area that we will be discussing is the review of related literature and studies. So for question number 1, in area number 2, which is review of related literature and studies, the question is, what gaps in the literature did you identify that your study aimed to fill? Ano ba ang tinatawag nating research gap? Research gap are questions that have not been answered or addressed by previous studies. So sa pagbabasa ninyo ng literature, ano ang mga nakita ninyo na pwedeng punuan ng inyong research? So ganun lang pwedeng i-interpret itong tanong na ito. Anong mga tanong, research gaps, sa mga literature na nabasa ninyo ang pwedeng punuan ng inyong study? Ano ang reason kung bakit ito tinatanong? For the researchers to explain. For the researchers to explain how the existing literature, yung mga nabasa nila, lacks coverage. Ano-ano yung mga kulang doon sa mga nabasa ninyong literature? Itong mga literature na to, wala sila nung kagaya ng ginagawa namin sa study namin, na kapag natapos namin ang aming study, makakadagdag ito ng panibagong kaalaman at ma-address nito yung mga problema na hindi pa nasasagot ng ibang literature na aming nabasa. Okay? Ulitin natin, to explain how the existing literature lacks coverage of your topic based on your research topic or specific context. Ano yung kulang doon sa mga nabasa ninyong literature and how your study contributes. Ito yung binabanggit ko kanina. Ano ngayon ang maidadagdag nitong mga literature na na-identify ninyo, nakita ninyo na wala doon sa ginagawa ninyo? Meron yung ginagawa ninyo na wala yung ibang literatures na nabasa ninyo. Your study contributes to filling that gap. So this is how you address this question. We are now on question number 2. How did the reviewed literature support your conceptual or theoretical framework? Again, how did the reviewed literature support your conceptual or theoretical framework? So for this question, you need to establish how the literature that you read, the literatures that you've reviewed, support the use of your framework, either it's theoretical or conceptual. For the example that I gave you earlier, the use of AI tools and the writing competencies of students, I identified TPAC as the framework, technological, pedagogical, content knowledge, because of the use of AI tools. So for this question, you need to establish how your theory or conceptual framework is supported by the literatures that you have reviewed. Ganun lang naman eh. Doon sa ginamit mong theory, meron bang mga nabasa kayong literature na ni-review ninyo na sumusuporta na ito talaga ang kailangan o bagay na framework o relevant or appropriate na framework na dapat gamitin para sa inyong study. Tignan natin yung purpose. The purpose of this question is to point out which authors of these theories or conceptual framework or studies influence your framework and explain how they help you develop your studies structure. So again, basically, you need to establish the appropriateness of your framework through the literatures that you have reviewed. Question number 3. Which related studies were most relevant to your research and why? Which related studies were most relevant to your research and why? When we talk about studies, this refers to research. In your review of studies, sa mga pagbabasa ninyo ng studies, because this is literature and studies, alin doon ang pinaka-related sa inyong study, sa inyong research at bakit? So you need to identify the study by presenting the title, the publication, the year it was published, the title, and then the idea behind the article or the part that you're going to quote from that study. Ano ang merong relevance dito sa study na to doon sa study or research na ginagawa ninyo? The purpose of this question is to mention at least two significant studies and justify their relevance in terms of pareho ba kayo ng methodology, ng findings, or yung context, yung background ng inyong study. Ulitin natin, the prescription of two significant studies is not standard. Hindi pwedeng sa lahat ng gagawa ng research, 2 studies lang, baka i-quote nyo ako ha. This is a minimum of at least 2 studies. Baka sa college level nga, hindi pa enough yung 2 studies. The safest would be as the need requires you to do so. Kapag more than 2, by all means, magdagdag pa kayo, hindi lang 2 significant studies. Okay? So, just to clear that specific part of this purpose. Question number 4. How does your study, your research confirm or affirms or agrees, contradict, agree or disagree, or expand upon previous findings? How does your study confirms, agree, disagree, or expand from previous findings of studies that you have reviewed? So, nagre-review kayo ng mga study doon sa kanilang findings. Ano yung nakikita nyong pareho, hindi pareho, o pwedeng maidagdag based doon sa mga nakita ng ibang study na binasa ninyo. Why are you being asked? The purpose is to reflect on similarities. Kanina relevance relevance ang in-establish natin. Ngayon naman is to establish and reflect on the similarities, differences between the results and what has been previously established to the study that you are conducting. Gusto lang malaman ng panel ninyo if you were able to establish the similarities and differences between your results and what has been previously established. Kung hindi nyo pa natatapos, so meron kayong idea kung ano yung pareho at hindi pareho and kung ano yung mga bago doon sa ginagawa ninyo. Pero kung tapos naman na kayo, ang ikukumpara nyo na dito ay yung mga results ninyo at yung results ng previous studies. Question number 5. What criteria did you use in selecting the literature, studies, and studies included in your review? Papaano nyo pinili yung paglalagay o pagsasama ng mga binasa nyong literature and studies sa inyong research? Papaano nyo sila pinili? Ano yung criteria na ginamit ninyo? Ano yung basihan na ginamit ninyo? So let's look at the purpose. The purpose of this question is to discuss your exclusion criteria. Ano yung mga criteria para maisama at yung mga criteria para masabing hindi kasama itong mga literatures and studies na ito sa inyong study, sa inyong manuscript. Kapag ba may kinalaman sa technology, ay kasama na kagad? Papaano kung itong technology ay ginamit sa engineering? Doon na papasok yung tinatawag nating inclusion and exclusion criteria, such as publication year. Baka naman sa publication nyo, 1970 pa yan, 2020 plus na tayo. Relevance to your topic. Is it relevant? Kagaya ng sabi ko, ginamit yung technology sa engineering, pero sa inyo, ang technology, kailangan nyo sa education. Therefore, it is not relevant. That can be used as a criteria in choosing literature and studies that can be included o pwedeng isama o hindi isama sa inyong research paper. Type ng research na ginawa, credibility of the source kung saan ninyo kinuha yung mga binasa ninyong literature and studies is also important. Okay, we are now on our next area, which is research method. So for the first question, what research design did you use and why was it appropriate for your study? So what do you need to focus into when you are given this question? Ano ba ang tinatanong dito? Yung research design na ginamit ninyo sa inyong study, kailangan nyo lang ibigay if it is descriptive, experimental, qualitative, and so on and so forth. So you need to present the method that you use. That's one. Yun yung sumasagot dito sa what research design did you use. And then the other part of this question is to justify. Kailangan ninyong ipaliwanag kung bakit ito karapat-dapat na gamitin sa inyong research at papaano ito gagawin. Ibigay nyo yung definition ng research design na ginamit ninyo and then i-relate ninyo, establish nyo yung relevance kung ano yung sinabi sa definition. Halimbawa, qualitative research is used in order to establish, expound experiences of respondents. So kung ang purpose ng study ninyo ay para malaman kung ano yung pinagdaanan ng inyong mga respondents during this particular phenomenon, then ang pinakabagay doon is qualitative. At paano natin nalaman? Sinabi kasi sa definition ng qualitative na ang qualitative ay nangongolekta ng mga karanasan ng mga respondents nila pagdating sa iba't ibang area. So ganun ang gagawin ninyo kapag kayo ay nabigyan ng ganitong tanong. So basahin natin ano yung purpose nitong question. This is to justify your choice. Kayo bilang mga researcher, kailangan nyong bigyan ng paliwanag kung bakit ito yung pinili ninyong research design. Okay? In relation to your research, yung research objectives nyo at yung nature ng problem ninyo. So, pinapaliwanag lang sa inyo. Ang pinaka idea nitong purpose na ito ay ibigay ninyo ano yung method na ginamit ninyo at bakit ito ang karapat-dapat na method na gamitin para sa study ninyo. So, yung kung ano yung binanggit kong paliwanag sa inyo, yun lang ang sasabihin nyo kapag kayo ay binigyan ng ganitong tanong. Question number 2, under research method, how did you select your participants or respondents? Napakasimple lang ng tanong, di ba? Papaano nyo pinili ang mga respondents ng inyong research? Basahin muna natin kung ano yung purpose nitong question na ito. Ito ay binibigay para ipaliwanag ninyo bilang mga researchers for you to explain the sampling method na ginamit. So, ibig sabihin, mag-focus kayo sa sampling method. Papaano nyo pinili yung inyong respondents? Ipaliwanag ninyo anong sampling method ang ginamit ninyo. Direct to the point. Explain the sampling method, including the criteria na ginamit ninyo. Yung paano nyo pinili at sino yung mga participants, kailangan meron ding criteria kayong in-establish. Paano masasagot itong criteria? Makikita ito sa research title. Kung halimbawa ang research ninyo, kagaya ng sample na ginagamit ko dito sa video discussion, ay yung paggamit ng AI tools at mga the writing competency of students. So, ang kukunin ko dito na criteria ay yung mga estudyante na merong subject na writing, English. Halimbawa sa technical writing. Okay? So, sila yung magiging respondents ko at yung requirement ko, dapat kailangan mga students na kumukuha ng English or technical writing. So, yun yung tinatawag nating criteria. Maliban doon, pwede kayo mag-set ng ibang criteria kagaya ng year level at kung ano-ano pa. So, for inclusions, criteria ay para doon sa ma-identify kung sinong kasama, hindi kasama, and demonstrate that the sample is representative and relevant. Ano yung sample? Ito yung kinuha mula doon sa population. Okay? So, meron ding computation yung pagkuha ng sample. Ang sample, ang magre-represent doon sa population. Halimbawa, ang population ninyo is 1,000. Ang sample ninyo lumabas sa computation ay, example lang yan, 200 respondents. So, papaano ngayon ito kinompute? Merong paraan ng pagko-compute niyan. Pwede kayong gumamit ng Rausoft calculator. Pwede din kayong gumamit ng Slovins at marami pang ibang available na pwede nyong gamitin na formula to compute the sample that will represent the population. So, by doing that, you have already covered question number 2. Papaano nyo pinili ang inyong participants at ang inyong respondents? I-summarize lang natin. Present nyo yung sampling method, present nyo yung criteria, present nyo yung formula kung papaano kayo pumili o nag-identify kung ilan yung sample na gagamitin ninyo para sa inyong study. Question number 3. What instruments did you use to gather data? That's the first part. And how did you ensure their validity and reliability? So, ulitin natin. Meron siyang dalawang bahagi. Ano yung instrument na ginamit? Simple lang yon. If it is questionnaire, interview, focus group discussion, examination, or test, yun lang, sasabihin nyo, ano yung instrument na ginamit niyo para makapag-gather ng data. Second part is, how did you ensure the validity or reliability of the instrument? So, bakit? Dito muna tayo sa purpose. Bakit tinatanong sa inyo yan? To describe the tools, number 1, kasi ipipresent ninyo ano yung tool na ginamit ninyo. May mga researcher, hindi nila alam kung ano yung tool. Okay? Ano yung tool na ginamit? Ano yung mga tools na ginamit kung marami man. So to describe the tools used in data collection and explain their accuracy and consistency. So pag sinabing consistency, this refers to reliability. Accuracy refers to validity. Okay? So papaano ginagawa yung pangalawang bahagi? How did you ensure their validity and reliability? Sa reliability, pwede kayo mag-test, mag-pilot test. Sa validity, pwede kayo magpa-validate. Meron tayong tinatawag na validation process. I have already discussed that in my previous video. Kung nire-require kayo to undergo validity and reliability, those are the two actions that you can take para ma-accomplish ito. And then, sagutin nyo lang dito. Ibig sabihin ng sagutin, ikwento nyo lang. Papaano kayo nag-establish ng validity and reliability? Ma'am, sa validity po, nagpa-validate kami sa experts, 3. Yung qualifications po ng experts namin, ganito, related po sa study na ginagawa namin. Sa reliability naman po, nag-conduct kami ng pilot test, and then anong ginawa nyo sa pilot test, ikwento ninyo. So that is how you answer question number 3. Question number 4. What procedures did you follow in conducting the study? What procedures did you follow in conducting the study? Let's go to the purpose first. This is asked to outline the step-by-step process followed during data gathering. Yung procedure na tinatanong dito is a follow-up of the first one, which is gathering data. Ano yung procedure na ginawa ninyo in gathering the data, or when you gather the data, ano yung mga ginawa ninyo? So to outline the step-by-step process during data gathering, ensuring that the research was conducted ethically and systematically or in an organized manner. So paano nyo sasagutin ito? Magkukwento lang kayo, magnanarrate kayo. So it is important that how would you be able to narrate? You need to participate in order to narrate. You need to participate in what? In the data gathering process. Data gathering. For you to be able to narrate. Hindi kayo pwedeng magkwento kapag hindi naman kayo nag-participate. Kung hindi man kayo nag-participate, make sure that you are familiar with the process. Kung sino man yung gumawa ng data gathering. So, the question is simple. If you have the experience, if you participated, if not, then you will be having a problem. Okay? So, ulitin natin, this question is a follow-up of the previous question. This is only going to be answered by narrating the step-by-step process during data gathering. So, meron ba kayong, gusto kasing tignan ng panel, meron ba kayong na-violate na ethical consideration? Yung bang pag-gather ninyo, systematic, organized, hindi magulo, hindi inefficient. Kailangan efficient sa. Anong example ng efficiency? Pag nag-distribute kayo, halimbawa, 10 lang yung question, tapos ang babalikan ninyo, isa lang, yung siyam hindi pa ready, babalik na naman kayo, 2 yung nakuha ninyo, yung 7 hindi pa rin yung nakuha. That's inefficient, okay? So, you have to systematize your process para hindi sayang yung oras ninyo. And make sure that when you answer this question, organize yung ideas ninyo, organize yung situations na ikukwento ninyo to answer this question. Question number 5. How did you analyze your data and why did you choose that method? So when we talk about analysis, this is for quantitative. And when we talk about quanti research, this refers to the use of formulas, specifically statistical formulas. Okay? So how did you analyze your data and why did you choose that method? Method refers to the statistical analysis that you used. Punta muna tayo dun sa purpose. To explain the statistical or qualitative, actually this is quantitative or qualitative analysis, technique used and justify how they help address the research questions or hypothesis. So, dalawang klase ito eh. This is for quanti. Ang gumagamit ng statistics is quantitative research. Sa qualitative research naman, iba yung analysis na ginagamit nila. So, data analysis yan. Yun, nandyan yung paggamit ng coding, thematic analysis, and so on and so forth. Okay? So, kailangan ipaliwanag lang ninyo ano yung statistical formula na ginamit ninyo at bakit ito ang ginamit ninyo. How are they appropriate? If you are not a statistician, a mathematician, then my advice is that you ask the statistician, the expert, the mathematician, bakit ito ang ginamit nilang formula? How are these formulas related to the study that you are conducting? Para makita ninyo yung sagot, bakit ito yung formula na ginamit? Para masagot yung hypothesis, bakit ito yung formula na ginamit? Okay? And then when you move on to qualitative research, you have to be familiar with the process. Kailangan familiar kayo sa process nung analysis niya sa qualitative, yung coding, thematic analysis. Hindi nyo kailangan ng statistician dyan. Kailangan nyo ng familiarity kung papaano ginagawa yung analysis gamit ang coding and thematic analysis kung qualitative ang research ninyo. So that is how you answer question number 5. Okay, we are now on question number 6. What ethical considerations did you observe while conducting your research? So you need to make sure that you have established or considered or included ethical considerations in your manuscript. Kailangan kasama yung discussion ng ethical considerations ng inyong study. Yung anonymity, yung protection and safety of the respondents, yung intellectual property, yung data privacy, and so on and so forth. So those are ethical considerations. So ang tanong dito, ano-ano mga ethical considerations ang ginamit ninyo during the conduct of your study? So what is the purpose of this question? To demonstrate awareness para malaman ng panel ninyo kung alam ba ninyo na kung ano-ano yung mga ethical considerations na inobserve ninyo noong kayo o habang kayo ay nagko-conduct ng study. O baka naman ma-discover nila na wala kayong ethical considerations na ginamit. Okay? So you have to be aware of those questions. At kung wala pa sa study o sa manuscript niya, then it's high time that you consider this, to include this in your manuscript. Again, to demonstrate awareness of research ethics such as informed consent, ito yung mga example, confidentiality, protection of the rights of the participants. So this is how you address and answer this question. I-present nyo lang ano-ano yung mga ethical considerations na inobserve ninyo habang kayo ay nagko-conduct ng research. We are now on the next area, which is results and discussion. So this refers to the last part of your study, the summary, findings, conclusion, and recommendation. So let's go to question number 1. What are the key findings of your study? What are the key findings of your study? Remember what I mentioned earlier, that most questions from this part will be taken or can be taken from the last part of your manuscript, which is summary, findings, conclusion, and recommendation. So the only thing that you need to do when you are asked, tinanong kayo, ano ang findings ng inyong study? Focus on the findings. So go to the part of your manuscript kung saan ipinapakita yung findings of the study and you familiarize yourself with the findings of the study. As much as possible, iwasan ninyo na binabasa ninyo verbatim in toto, word per word, kung ano yung nakasulat sa findings of your study. I-familiarize nyo yung sarili ninyo so that even without looking at your manuscript, kaya nyong i-present, kaya nyong i-discuss sa inyong panel. Another thing, when this question is presented to you, is that make sure that you are familiar with the most significant findings of your study. You have to be familiar with the most significant findings of your study. So let's go to the purpose. The purpose of this question is for the researchers to summarize, this is what I mentioned earlier, the most important results that directly answers your research questions or hypothesis. So the research questions are the specific questions found in your SOP or statement of the problem, and the hypothesis is created or included if your study is more on the relationship of variables. So you have to prove or disprove the hypothesis. So this is how you answer this question. Question number 2. How do your findings relate to the literature reviewed in your study? So for this question, you need to establish the relationship between the findings of your study and the literature that you reviewed. Establish the relationship of the findings of your study with the literature reviewed. Ano ang sinasabi ng mga nabasa niyong literature tungkol sa findings of the study? So meron tatlong posibilidad na yung nabasa ninyo ay nag-agree sa findings ninyo. Check. Yung nabasa ninyo ay hindi nag-agree sa findings ninyo. X. And another, the third one is yung nabasa ninyo wala doon sa nakita ninyo sa inyong study. So, ibig sabihin may bago, di ba? So, let's go to the purpose. The purpose of this question is to connect or establish the relationship of the results or the findings of your study with previous studies, with previous literatures that you have read. So, studies are researches showing whether your findings confirm, agree, disagree, or there is an additional knowledge that can be taken from the study that you conducted. Merong bago na nalaman dun sa study ninyo. So, ganun yung sasagutin yan. Ma'am, sir, our research confirms, based from the literature that we reviewed, confirms what is already written in the literature review. Or there is a new finding that was discovered in our study that is not present in other literature reviews. Okay, so that is how you answer this question. Question number 3. Were there any unexpected results? Yun lang naman eh. Meron ba kayong mga findings na hindi nyo inaasahan? If so, how did you interpret them? So this is a question that also asks another question. Kapag meron kayong study, usually you already have expectations of that study. If my study, based from the example research title that I was giving earlier, if my study is about AI tools in relation to the writing competency of students, kung nakakatulong ba itong AI tools, I'm already expecting na yung AI tools will have a positive impact on the writing competency of students. Meron na akong expectation. Papaano dito sa question na ito, papaano kung meron unexpected results? Were there any unexpected results? If so, how did you interpret them? My advice to the researchers, if you encountered this question, you are asked, were there any unexpected results from your findings? Do not manipulate, do not tamper with the data so that the findings of the study can confer with your expectation. Huwag ninyong babaguhin, dadagdagan, babawasan, o kung ano man yung gagawin ninyo para mabago yung data para umayon yung resulta doon sa inaasahan ninyo. That is already tantamount to cheating, and that is unethical in research writing. So tandaan ninyo yan. Kahit ano ang maging resulta ng findings ninyo, umayon man yan, umayon man yan sa expectation nyo o hindi siya ayon sa expectation ninyo, make sure that you stand by the result. That is the good thing about quantitative research. Kapag quantitative research, you cannot manipulate, you do not need to manipulate the data. There is a reason kung bakit ganun yung naging result. The good thing about quantitative, it is not subjective. It is unbiased. Okay? Data-driven yan, data-based. Kung ano yung lumabas sa data, may dahilan kung bakit yan lumabas. That is one of the qualities of quantitative research. So kailangan nyo lang hanapin ano yung paliwanag at ganito yung lumabas dito sa findings natin. Bakit unexpected? So let's go to the purpose. This is us to assess your ability as researchers to analyze. Hanapan nyo lang ng paliwanag. Bakit hindi sila natututo kapag AI ang ginagamit nila o AI tools ang ginagamit nila? There is an explanation. So you need to analyze and explain the findings that did not align with your expectations or prior studies. You just need to analyze and explain. You have to accept unexpected results. That is part of research writing. Question number 4. How do your results, findings of the study, address the research problem or the specific problem stated in the introduction or discussed in the introduction? So, kung titignan ninyo, papaano nasagutan ng findings ninyo yung mga research problem? Does your finding directly answer the questions of your study? Ganun yung tanong niya dito sa question number 4. Let's go to the purpose. This is asked to demonstrate how your findings provide solutions. Nasagot ba? Kung nasagot, i-present ninyo yung research questions and then yung sagot based from the findings of the study. So there were solutions, may mga makabagong kaalaman na idagdag or answers to specific issues raised at the beginning of the research, which is also indicated or included sa specific problems ninyo. If that is so, all you need to do for this question is to present the specific question nasa SOP ninyo or present the specific question and immediately present the question based from the findings of your study. So that is, again, how you address this particular question. Question number 5. What implications do your findings have for future research, policy, or practice? Again, ano-ano yung implication ng findings ninyo para sa mga magre-research in the future pagdating sa research, sa policy, or sa practice. Let's look at the purpose. This question is asked for the researchers to explain the broader significance of your results. Part of your results, part of that would be the recommendation for further studies. So again, this is to explain broader significance of your results. Will the findings of your study affect the future studies that is recommended? Okay? Or will your findings be a platform to start a new study? Yung bang nalaman ninyo sa inyong study ay pwedeng maging basihan para magkaroon ng isang research na pwede maging katuloy ng research ninyo dahil hindi ito nasakop doon sa research na ginawa ninyo. Okay? So to explain the broader significance of your results and how they can be applied or serve as basis for further studies. Yun yung sinasabi natin kanina. Ito bang mga findings ninyo pwedeng gawing basihan para maging panibagong research naman para sa mga future researches? The last question number 6. How did you ensure, ano-ano yung mga ginawa nyo to ensure the accuracy, credibility of your data analysis? So, ibibigay nyo lang yung mga steps na ginawa ninyo para masabi na yung inyong data, na yung resulta ng data ninyo ay accurate and credible. So makikita niyo yung sagot dito sa purpose. This question is asked to show the measures you took. Ano-ano yung mga measures na ginawa ninyo? Yung mga action na ginawa ninyo. Kagaya ng triangulation, peer checking, ibig sabihin nagpa-check kayo sa mga kasama ninyo. Triangulation is using other methods in order to prove or disprove part of your research, and another sa area ng technology is software validation naman. Lahat ito will help you maintain the integrity and trustworthiness of your results. So again, this is how you answer this particular question. You just review ano-ano yung mga steps na ginawa ninyo para masabi na accurate and credible yung data analysis na ginawa ninyo. We are now on the next area of our discussion, conclusions and recommendations. Question number 1, what are the major conclusions of your study? When we talk about conclusions, kapag conclusion na pinag-uusapan natin, this is defined as a statement, a realization based from the findings of the study. Conclusions are realizations and statements based from the findings of the study. It is like summarizing what was presented in the findings of the study and then presenting it in a statement form, which is your conclusion. Example of this, using our sample research title, AI Tools and its effect in the writing competency of students, the conclusion can be AI tools helps students' competency in writing. AI tools helps students in their writing competency. That is already a statement, a realization. It should be backed up by data. Hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na definite ka AI tools nakakatulong sa writing competency of students, not unless you have evidence. So in this case, the evidence is found on the findings of the study. Based from the table, the analysis, we have reached a conclusion that AI tools helps in the competency of students. Let's go to the purpose. The purpose of this question is to summarize, ito yung sinasabi natin kanina, to summarize the main insights or takeaways that is directly reflected or taken from the findings of the study and address the research objectives of the problem. So again, just focus on creating conclusions, proper conclusions, because there are research defense that I was able to attend and nakita ko na marami pa rin ang hindi marunong mag-form ng conclusion. Conclusions can be or are supposed to be taken directly from the findings of the study, kagaya ng halimbawa na ginamit natin. So that is how you address question number 1 under this area, conclusions and recommendations. Question number 2. How do your conclusions, the conclusions, align with your research question or specific questions or hypothesis? How does your conclusion align with your research question or hypothesis? How are they aligned? Are they aligned? Let us look at the purpose first. The purpose of this question is to demonstrate that your conclusions are clearly supported by the results and are consistent with the aim of the study or the study's aim. So conclusions based on our previous discussion, question number 1 is supposed to be directly taken from the findings of the study, which is the result. So, papaano nyo sasagutin ito? How are your conclusions aligned with your research question? Sabihin nyo lang, kung our conclusions are directly based from the findings of the study and the findings of the study directly answers the research question and the hypothesis. Ganun nyo, babalikan nyo lang yung connection. Ang conclusion po namin ay directly ibinase sa findings ng aming study at itong mga findings ng study namin ay direktang sumasagot sa specific problems namin under SOP at sinasagot din po nito ang hypothesis. Okay, so they are interconnected. That is why do not write conclusions based from out of this world answers. Kasi madali ang mahalata ng mga panel ninyo. So that is again how you answer question number 2. Let us now go to question number 3. What limitations did you encounter? What limitations did you encounter? Mga challenges ninyo. And how did they affect your conclusions? Ano yung mga challenges na na-encounter ninyo at paano ito nakaapekto sa conclusion ng inyong study? Let's look at the purpose. This is us to show your awareness of the study's boundaries, yung limitations ng inyong study. Gaano ba kayo ka-aware na hindi nyo kayang kunin lahat ng respondents, lahat ng schools, kaya ito lang ang ginamit ninyo. So, this can be part of the limitation. You can also cite sources or limitation in terms of your sources, in terms of time, in terms of respondents, in terms of the organizations that you need, the data that you need. How did this affect your conclusion? So, paano nyo sasagutin yun? Because of the boundaries that we encountered, our conclusions are only covers the following. Kung ano lang yung na-cover ninyo. Dahil ito yung respondents na ginamit ninyo, the conclusion is based on the following number of respondents and the following number of schools. Yun yung direct effect ng conclusion doon sa limitations ninyo. Again, to show your awareness of the study's boundaries and how certain constraints or limitations have influenced the interpretation of results. This can also be the basis of further research. Kung ang nagamit nyo lang na lokal ay yung isang eskwelahan, baka pwede nilang gawin na mas malaki, mas maraming branch ng eskwelahan para mas makita kung consistent ba yung result ng study na ginawa nyo sa isang school kung ito ay gagawin sa mas madaming school. Question number 4. What are your recommendations? So focus on the recommendation of your study. Make sure that you are familiar with the location of the recommendations of your study, which is located at the last chapter of your manuscript. So what is the purpose of this question? To propose areas for further studies. Okay, recommendation nito is for specifically for future research. So make sure that you include in your manuscript, specifically sa recommendation, what future research, areas of future research, include them in your recommendation. So to propose areas for further study that could expand. Sabi natin kanina, sa example, ang ginamit nyo lang ay isang school because of your limitation. Dito, sa susunod na tanong, pwede ninyong ilagay for further studies, future researches, the researchers can focus on a bigger number of schools to implement the same research question. Okay? That could expand, refine, or validate your findings. Para makita ninyo at malaman ninyo kung yung findings ng study ninyo is the same, kung mas malaki ang gagamitin yung area ng inyong respondents. based on the identified gaps and limitations. Dahil nga ang limitation ninyo, isang school lang ang ginamit ninyo, for further studies, pwede kayong mag-recommend ng mas maraming participating schools. Question number 5. What practical recommendations can you offer based on your findings? What practical recommendations can you offer based on your findings? Let's go to the purpose of this question. Ano ba itong mga practical recommendations? This is asked to provide actionable suggestions. What actions can you recommend? Ano-ano bang pwede nyong i-propose na pwedeng gawin in relation to the findings and conclusion of your study? Halimbawa, ang study ko is yung AI tools and the writing competency of students, and nakita doon na natutulungan ng AI tools ang mga estudyante sa writing competency nila. Kung ganon ang findings ko, pwede ako mag-recommend na kung ano yung ginagawa, i-develop and then i-disseminate sa ibang klase at gamitin ng ibang teachers. Those are what we call practical recommendations that you can offer based on the findings of your study. Kasi nga effective based from the findings and conclusion of the study. So, ang practical recommendation na yan, develop pa para mas maganda pa, and then i-disseminate para magamit at mapakinabangan ng iba. So, to provide actionable suggestions that can be applied in real-world settings such as, ito yon sa atin, education, industry, government, or community development. So, basically, pwede nyong i-extend ito. Industry, applicable yon. Sa government, applicable. Community development, definitely applicable. Para sabi nga natin, kapag may nalaman kayong bago sa research, kailangan i-share ninyo ito, i-disseminate ninyo kung ano yung nakita ninyo, natuklasan ninyo sa inyong research. We are now on the last question for this area. Question number 6, how do you justify, how do you explain the relevance or establish the relevance of your recommendation sa stakeholders or beneficiaries of your study? In your manuscript, there is a part of your research that is labeled as beneficiaries of the study. So if I'm going to use my sample, AI tools and its effect on the writing competencies of students, my beneficiaries would be the students, the teachers, and the institution. So how do you establish the relevance of the recommendation to the beneficiary? So the recommendations would directly benefit the stakeholders in terms of papaano ba magbe-benefit. They will become better writers. The teachers would efficiently be able to transfer knowledge using or with the aid of AI tools, and the institution can get a higher number of enrollees when the enrollees find out that AI tools is being included or being injected with the discussion or teaching strategies in the classroom. Okay, so this is how you justify the relevance of your recommendations to the beneficiaries of your study. We are now on the last area of our discussion, which is the general and critical question. The general and critical questions. So these are questions outside of the parts of your manuscript. So this can appear as a follow-up question from your panelists, so you also have to be prepared. Question number 1, how did your personal bias or perspective affect your research? Remember earlier, sabi natin kanina, kapag bago pa lang kayo magsimula ng inyong research, meron na kayong expectation. Those are part of these personal biases. Okay? Meron kayong expectation sa result ng inyong study. So, how did this affect your research? Let's look at the purpose first. To reflect, this question is given to reflect on your objectivity. Okay, example, sabi natin kanina, ina-expect nyo yung AI tools makakatulong. Pero ang lumabas, hindi nakakatulong. Unexpected result. Papaano nyo ngayon sasabihin na objective kayo? Diba? Sabihin nyo, despite of the unexpected result of our study, we were able to present the reason why this finding came out. Okay? We were able to uh, rationalize why this unexpected result came out from our study. So yun yung sinasabi nating objectivity, hindi kayo bias, hindi kayo nagpapalit ng data, hindi kayo nagmamanipulate ng result. You're still objective despite of the unexpected result. And steps taken to minimize bias. Ano bang ginawa ninyo para hindi kayo masabihang o meron nangyaring bias doon sa inyong pag-a-analyze ng data? So, ikwento nyo lang yon throughout the research process. So, again, how did your personal biases or perspective affect your research? It did not affect our research because we were objective in the presentation of the findings of the study up to the recommendations of our study. So that is how you answer question number 1. Question number 2, if you were to start your research again, what would you do differently? If you were to start, kung sisimulan nyo ulit ang inyong research, anong gusto nyong baguhin? This is a hypothetical question. Of course, you cannot do that again. Okay? You have already finished your research. Pero kung bibigyan kayo ng pagkakataon at simulan ulit yung research ninyo, ano ang gusto nyong baguhin? So, be honest in your answer. So, based from the findings, the recommendations of your study, ano ba ang gusto nyong ibahin, dagdagan, o idagdag doon sa inyong study? So, I can say if I was in this position that I would like a larger respondents, larger participants, a larger number of schools to be included in my study. Kung pwedeng gawin by district, or if you are uh, bold and you have the time and resources, you can do it regionally, and this can be a basis for other studies, not only locally but also internationally, if they found out that your respondents includes the following areas doon sa research ninyo. So these are, again, answers that you can use for this question. If you were to start your research again, what would you do differently? What is the purpose of this question? To show the researcher's ability to critically evaluate your own work and suggest improvements for further studies. So ano pa ang pwede ninyong sabihin na pwede nyong idagdag o gusto nyong idagdag o gusto nyong baguhin doon sa inyong study para masabi ninyo na mas maganda ang kalalabasan ng inyong study kung ganito ang ginawa ninyo. So that is okay. You be honest in answering this question. Okay, we are now on question number 3. How do you handle conflicting data or findings of the study that do not support your hypothesis? A hypothesis is a scholarly guess. Okay, and your hypothesis for quantitative research is presented in null. So, ang hypothesis ginagamit kapag ang study ninyo involves relationship of variables. So, if that is the case, ang hypothesis natin for our example will be there is no significant relationship between AI tools or use of AI tools with the writing competency of students. Yung findings natin conflicting with the hypothesis. All you need to do is to either accept or reject. Kapag conflicting, sabi ng hypothesis natin, no significant relationship. It does not affect yung writing competency. So kung dito sa findings natin, it affects and helps students, ang gagawin nyo lang sa hypothesis is to reject the hypothesis because it is not true based on the findings of the study. Based from the findings of our study, the use of AI tools definitely help the students' writing competency. So with this, we rejected the hypothesis. Ganun lang yon. So let's read the purpose. This is to demonstrate critical thinking. Yun yung ginagawa natin kanina. You need to think na null hypothesis, tapos ang lumabas sa findings mo as there is relationship, then siguro hindi naman ganun kabilis yung analysis ng iba. Definitely reject nyo yung null hypothesis. Ganun lang yon. Critical thinking, flexibility in interpreting unexpected or contradictory results. Merong step or process na pwede nyong gawin kapag conflicting yung findings doon sa hypothesis ninyo. It's okay, don't panic. Okay, so that is how you answer this question. Question number 4. What are the ethical challenges you faced during your research and how did you address them? So try to recall, try to remember, 'di ba? Alalahanin ninyo ano ba yung mga naging ethical challenges na na-encounter ninyo during your research, and then papaano nyo in-overcome itong mga challenges na ito. So magkukwento lang kayo, magna-narrate lang kayo for this question. So let's look at the purpose. This is asked to prove that your adherence, sumunod kayo doon sa ethical standards. Saan kayo nahirapan pagdating sa ethical challenges, and then papaano nyo in-address ito para malaman ng panel na kayo ba sumunod doon sa ethical standards, and problem solving skills ninyo tinitignan din nila in managing ethical dilemmas. So try to remember ano ba yung mga ethical considerations ng research ninyo na nahirapan kayo. And then the next part, after that, pag na-identify ninyo, papaano nyo ni-resolve. Okay? So that is how you answer this question. Question number 5. How can your research be applied or extended beyond the current study? How can your research be applied or extended beyond the current study? So this is related to future researches. Pero tignan natin yung purpose for this question. This is asked to discuss the practical relevance and future directions or scalability of your research. To discuss the practical relevance, practical application of your study, future directions of or scalability of your research. Again, you can go back to your previous answer in relation to future research, and then definitely may mga follow-up question yan. Papaano nyo ipapaliwanag sa kanila yung application ng inyong research beyond the current study? Aside from that, ano pa yung pwede nyong ibigay na application beyond what you have discussed, beyond the study that you have conducted? Sabi natin kanina, remember, yung AI tools and the writing competency of students can go beyond education. Pwede siya sa industry. Meron kasi akong na-encounter na case na isang professional pero hindi siya sa education, nasa industry siya. Nagsusulat sila ng mga report. So yung writing competency can go beyond and extend beyond your study, which is education. Pwede siya sa industry, pwede siya sa community. Ganun nyo dapat ipaliwanag sa kanila. Ano pa ang pwedeng paggamitan ng inyong findings ng study ninyo, ng recommendations ng study ninyo. We are now on question number 6. What are the weaknesses of your study? You have to be, again, honest and present the limitations or weaknesses of your study. So let's look at the purpose of this question. This is to show your awareness of the limitations of your study and how they affect the validity of your findings. This is just a question related to the previous question on the limitations of your study. Ano yung weakness ng study ninyo? And then these limitations should be reflected to the validity of your findings. So ang limitation natin, sabi natin kanina, would be the number of respondents that was used in the study. You would like a greater number, but because of the limitations on the resources, you were able to use this number of sample ng study ninyo, the number of participating schools, the number of institutions na ginamit, gusto nyo mas marami sana. Kung mas marami, the validity of your findings would be greatly strengthened. Halimbawa, kung yan ay ginawa by district o ginawa by region, definitely the validity will be strengthened. Okay? But again, like what I said, be honest. If that is the limitation of your study, then present. Okay? There is nothing wrong with presenting the limitations of your study. It does not mean that you committed an error. Presenting the limitation or the weakness of your study does not equate to an error done in your study. So wala ka namang maling ginawa, present the limitation of your study. Question number 7. How did you ensure the reliability and validity of your data? Again, parang umuulit-ulit na lang, di ba? Reliability and validity of your data was already encountered earlier. So if they need a follow-up question, then you just explain and reiterate. Let's look at the purpose. This is asked to explain the techniques and strategies that you use to make sure that your data and findings are trustworthy. Mga safety features ito. Anong mga ginawa ninyo to ensure the reliability and validity of your data? So, just reiterate the answer that you gave earlier. Sa validity, you conducted a validation process wherein gumamit kayo ng 3 validators, experts related to your study, and then for the reliability naman, you conducted pilot testing. Okay? So next, question number 8. How did your study contribute to your personal or professional growth? How did your study contribute to your personal or professional growth? This is, you have to reflect on this personally. Ano ang natutunan ninyo? Ano ang naitulong ng research sa inyo bilang isang individual? Let's look at the purpose. The purpose of this question is to reflect, for you to reflect on what you have learned. Yan yung sabi natin, ano natutunan nyo sa proseso ng research writing? What you have learned through the research process and how it influenced your skills and perspectives. May nabago ba sa pananaw ninyo? May na-develop ba sa skills ninyo? Hindi lang sa writing skills, people skills, interpersonal, intrapersonal. You need to dole out. You need to explain. Sabihin nyo lang sa kanila, ano yung mga natutunan nyo? This is the easiest question in a research defense. Okay? And then the last one, why should your research be considered credible and valuable? Why should your research be considered credible and valuable? Ano ang significance ng study ninyo? Ganun lang yun. Ano ang significance ng study ninyo? Let's look at the purpose. To convince your panel that your study was conducted rigorously, hindi kayo nagpabaya, hindi kayo naging lax, hindi kayo naging magaan doon sa hindi nyo tinake for granted sa pagko-conduct ng study ninyo in general. Lahat, hindi lang sa data gathering, hindi lang sa analysis, pinagkagastusan nyo at binigyan nyo ng panahon. So that's what you mean by conducted rigorously. Ethically, may sinunod kayong mga ethical standards. Hindi nyo violate. Inalalaya nyo, prinotektahan nyo yung mga respondents ninyo. So, ipapaliwanag nyo lahat doon. And with meaningful contributions. So, ibig sabihin, ginawa nyo ito beforehand dahil alam niyo na makakatulong ito sa kapwa nyo estudyante dahil kayo personally na-experience nyo yung challenges pagdating sa writing. So this is where we end our discussion for this video entitled 38 Final Research Defense Questions and their purpose. I hope you were able to get takeaways and key ideas that you need in preparation for your final research defense. And again, if you are new to our channel, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Doc Ed Padama. If you have questions, you can write them down at the comment section of this video. Like and share this video so we can help other students, other researchers while they are in the process of completing their research paper. Thank you very much, everyone. Stay safe and God bless. I'll see you on our next video. Bye.